Hello, welcome to episode 3 of FPL Waffle as we look ahead to game week 25. A fairly exciting game week, to be honest. I'm quite looking forward to it. I'm playing my free hit this week, spoiler alert. It's a blank double, which is quite unique for FPL. There doesn't usually be a week where there's both blanks and double game weeks. It's usually one or the other. So that's kind of what swung me really with playing the free hit, with me having a few blank players in my team. And then obviously loads of loads of double potential, some double potential to field a team full of doublers. When otherwise I might have only had sort of 6 or 7 single game week players. So we'll get to my free hit team in a sec. Firstly, let's have a look at how I got on in game week 24. And it was one of those weeks where I came out with a 51 pointer, slightly above average in terms of the average points. I got a slight red arrow, on the face of it, not too bad. I just found it frustrating that I think I was talking on the previous episode about kind of almost wanting to captain Rashford, and I just didn't have the bottle in the end. I just had nightmares of a Haaland haul after they beat Arsenal, going to Forest of momentum. I just had nightmares of Haaland getting a hat trick. And although I wanted to do Rashford, and then waiting to the Sunday as well. If Haaland hauled on the Saturday, I talked myself into just playing it safe with Haaland, and unfortunately it backfired massively. And I could have had a massive green arrow if I took the plunging over Rashford. So, kind of a bit of a hypocrite after last week. I said, if you want to do something, just do it. This is an example as to why, because I wanted to captain Rashford and I didn't. And that's why I regretted it more when he hauled than if, say, yeah, it was the other way around. So it is what it is. I still obviously got Rashford points. I got nice Odegaard and Saka points, which I was pleased with. Kane assist was something. um, and this was the nicest win actually. Brian and Bomo and Buemo, however you say his name, came off the bench for me for Morris, and this man and Buemo got like a 96th minute equaliser, equalising assist, should I say, to get me a few more points off the bench. So that was nice. That was a little consolation. One other frustration was I think I said on the previous episode as well. I was tempted to do a Stupinan for Brighton in plans for the double game weeks coming up, but because of the potential for Brighton's double game week not happening in 27, I overthought that and ended up just doing White to Gabriel to get in a more kind of solid Arsenal defender with a more attacking threat, which hopefully long term pays off. But after Stupinan went off before Brighton conceded and got 2 bonus points, he would have got 8 points for me. Whereas in the end, I got a Henry 2 pointer. So if I'd gone with what I wanted to do originally and captain Rashford, put in a Stupinan, I'd have had a huge green arrow. But hindsight is a wonderful thing. I'll learn from it for next time. If I want to do something, like I said to you before, just do it. Here's a prime example as to why. Now, if we look into my team for this week, as I said, I'm going to be free hitting this week to avoid some of the players that would be blanking. I'd have to take a lot of minus points. And I just want to attack it. I want to attack the blank double with a load of doublers. So this is what I've put together. Quite pleased with it. I'm looking forward to seeing how it gets on. I'll talk you through it briefly. So I wanted to cover each of the teams who are doubling in defence. So if one of them smashes it clean sheet wise, or even if they get one clean sheet, I'm kind of covered on all basis. Sarah's the keeper. The logic there is Fulham away, Liverpool away, arguably the 2 hardest fixtures for the doubler. So I'm thinking even if he doesn't get clean sheets, he's more likely to potentially get some save points. So I've got Sarr in goal. Trent in defence. He started to recently prove, why he was the attacking asset that everyone loved from previous seasons. So he's my Liverpool defender and, pretty nailed. Gabriel, most nailed Arsenal defender and most attacking threat, speaks for himself. And then Tarkowski has been popping up with lots of headed attempts for Everton. And he's actually a player that looks good to bring in if you're just looking to have a free transfer or two this week. He's not a player to bring in because he plays in game week 28, which is a big blank. And he plays in some of the upcoming games as well, that could be blanks. I think like 30 or 32 that they're talking about. So he's I think he's a solid pick. And then in the midfield, we've got Salah and Saka, the two that are kind of like non-negotiable in this double, really. It's a toss-up for captaincy, but I just think Saka has been more reliable lately. Arsenal have been more reliable. Go for Saka. I want to go Saka, so I'm going to go for Saka this time. I'm not going to overthink it and go for Salah because other people are going Salah. I'm going to go for Saka. I want to go Saka. Back Saka. I'm going to stick with it. So those are the two sort of premium mids, and then I've got a wild Neves and McNeil in as kind of differentially doubles. Neves on penalties, you never know. He loves a screamer as well. Maybe this is his week. And McNeil on set pieces. I don't know. I just think he's a fun, random little player to bring in. So I'm hoping he might get something for me. And then up top, I've attacked it with Nketiah, Darwin, and Haaland. Haaland's my only single game week player. You can't really leave him out, can you? Away to Bournemouth, there's always a chance he can go mad. So I have to leave him in. And then Darwin and Nketiah, they're brilliant underlying stats, shots after shots after shots. They're just very inconsistent on their finishing. But one of these weeks, they're going to return with a hat trick or so. And I feel like in a double game week, you've got to attack it. Let's go for two players that could bang hat tricks rather than playing it safe with like an Odegaard and a like Robertson or something. I feel like this is the aggressive play that I want to go for. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do on the bench. If Haaland for some reason got a 90-minute rest for Alvarez or whatever, Jared Bowen is a bit of a punt off the bench, home to Forest. I fancy him, to maybe do something. Even, should get a clean sheet point. Hopefully could get a goal or assist. And then Mikalenko and Bueno, there's the two other players that are there. Probably won't need them, obviously, but they're there anyway. And then Forster, again, shouldn't need him, but he's a playing goalie that's cheap that enabled me to see the rest of my team. So that's the free hit team. Looking forward to seeing how it gets on. And hopefully there's some tips there as to who you might want to bring in if you had some transfers for doublers. I'd say Saka is a priority. If you don't have him, you've got to get in Saka. Strong player to captain. I think you need triple Arsenal if you haven't already. That's just a no-brainer. I think try and maybe get in. Liverpool's a funny one because they just got smashed by Real Madrid. So it's like, how knocked are they going to be by that? But it's probably worth trying to get in one Liverpool player if you can. They may play in the blank game week 28, depending on FA Cup results. And then they have a double coming up in 29, which isn't the nicest. I'll look at the doubles in a sec, but it's a double nonetheless. So yeah, I think maybe one of them. Tarkowski, like I said, could be a good shout. He's cheap. He could enable other things. He plays in 28. He doubles this week. They have some reasonable fixtures. Dyche, defensive unit, like Everton are going to get clean sheets. And then beyond that, it's not the most attractive double. So you should have some. If you've got enough players to field 10 or 11 players, if you're not doing a free hit like me, even if you've got 9 players out this week that all look okay, it's probably fine to get by. But yeah, definitely have triple Arsenal, whatever you do. Maybe a Liverpool player if you want one. And then Tarkowski potentially could work well for your team if necessary. And then if you want to go have a punt on any of these other guys that help to enable things, go for it. This is what I wanted to look at. Kind of, there's a couple more things for this video. The sweaty Lego Mane puts together these just unbelievable graphs of fixture plannings and double game week potentials and blank potentials. And it looks a state if you've never seen this before. And I think hence it's probably called the Lego stuff because of all the colours. That's what it seems logical to me anyway. But what it's basically showing here in a nutshell is obviously we've got the fixtures coming up. If you see a fixture next to each other, kind of like this, you can see that they're double game weeks for these teams that are outside. You've then got blank game weeks that are listed. So where's 28? So sort of red fixtures here, blanks, etc. But basically, this is probably something to have an eye on. So for your planning for this week, for future weeks, you want to have a rough idea as to what's coming up with fixtures and stuff, so you can work out, okay, who do I want to bring in this week that's also going to be playing in future weeks? That's some nice double game weeks, some nice fixtures coming up, etc., etc. So I'd say for all of you, an easier way of digesting all of this information is going to a website called FPL.team. And obviously, this doesn't show all the fixtures and stuff, which is why you kind of need to do both together. But this website basically helps you to sort of plan ahead with how your team's going to look for future game weeks. Now, game week 28 the blanks still haven't been fully decided because of the FA Cup games. So when I get to game week 28 on my planner, it will still say that I have a full squad of players that are playing a match, which won't be the case. So you need to bear that in mind, and this is where your sort of fixture ticker thing from Lego Mane comes in handy, or Ben Krellin, or whoever you want to look at on Twitter. But anyways, if even if you're someone that doesn't want to spend that much time on your fantasy football, go into FPL.team, type in your team code. So you can find that if you click on points, up here, there's a number, probably a 6-digit, 7-digit number. Copy that, paste it in when you go on the FPL.team website, and it will come up with this screen with your team plan. And then, so basically going into, so as an example of my team, going into game week 26, my team will look like this. And I've taken out Mahrez for Maddison. And I can see, right, this is who the players will be playing. This is who I might want to captain. This is where I might want to make a transfer, etc. So I've gone, right, I'd like to bring in Maddison for Southampton. He's doubling in 29 with a really nice double. So I'll get him in early, get him in for a nice fixture. Mahrez is always going to be a bit of a rotation risk. And City have some blanks and stuff coming up. So we'll put in Maddison. And then you go, okay, happy with that team's 26. How's it going to look for 27? You look at it for 27. So I've brought in a McAllister and a Sanchez for Brighton's double. I look at my team, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm happy with that, etc. Go to 28. This is where I need to check Mane's blank things, but then I can work, okay, Arsenal play 3 times. Arsenal play that week. So I'll have a couple of Arsenal players. I'll have, potentially I want to bring in James and Watkins. I can count up how many players I'll have, etc., etc. And then game week 29 is probably a double that you want to start thinking about now, as well, with who you want to bring in and stuff. So Brighton and Brentford double in both 27 and 29, but blank and most likely in 28. Well, Brighton definitely, I think Brentford maybe, or most likely for both. Actually, it's not definite, but it's most likely, and particularly Brighton's almost guaranteed to blank. So you want to bear that in mind with your planning. There's so many variations with the fixtures and stuff, but this is where a website like this can help you to plan ahead and think, okay, this is how my team will roughly look. So 29 is a beautiful double game week. So you want to start thinking about this now as well. Now, I think Brighton players are looking fantastic. We've got an epic double in 29, Brentford and Bournemouth. Okay, although we probably will blank in 28, it's not the most exciting game week anyway for fixtures for the teams that are going to be playing. So you can probably get by with a squad of 7-8 players and not take too much of a kind of hit from your rank, because no one else is going to be really able to get that much gains from the other players they have that are just not going to be that appealing, like your Dominic Solankis and that. No one really is going to smash it with them, most probably. But yeah, in 27, Brighton also have away to Leeds and home to Palace. So great fixtures throughout. So even just getting them in now, you've got home to West Ham, you've then got a couple of lovely doubles, and they're going to double again later in the season because they've got so many games they need to rearrange. And we're playing brilliant attacking football, scoring lots of goals. I just think, attack Brighton players if you haven't already. Brentford, you might want to look at, but they don't have the nicest double in 29. Although it's all right in 27, their double, you might want to bring in one for that, like Tony or something. They don't have the nicest in game week 29. I've got rid of their fixtures, but I think it's something like away to Newcastle, away to Man United. And then, you've got, then beyond that, there's no other doublers in 27. So you probably want to start thinking about, if you're thinking about transfers now, what nice doubles are happening in 29. Rashford for United. So you might start wanting to think about United. Newcastle, Brentford's okay. Like I said, Leicester with Maddison, away to Palace, home to Villa's really nice fixtures. You might want to think about getting in the likes for Maddison. And then Watkins in 28 has a game at home to Bournemouth, which is nice. And then he doubles in 29. Like, there's so many things to consider. Chelsea have an okay double, but then how many Chelsea players are you really going to want? And then you're thinking, well, I don't want a full team of double game week players, but then I've got Saka's and Haaland's that only have a single. Am I going to still try and play them alongside doublers or bench them? It's a bit of a minefield. And this Lego Mane sweaty graph exactly looks like a minefield, doesn't it? Because it is a minefield. So top tip, have a glance at this, take in some of the key info, clock who the key double game week teams are, and then go to your FPL.team, have a flick through your team for upcoming game weeks, and make a rough plan for who you think you want to bring in. So then you can maybe start thinking now, okay, who do I want to bring in now to prepare for future and have my team set up nicely for the coming game weeks. And it'll also inform your decisions about chip strategies. You might think, oh, that week looks really difficult for me. I might want a free hit. Or that week, I might want a wild card to then set up my team for future weeks. And that week I'd have an amazing bench. So that's when I'll bench boost. If I do these transfers, I can make it, really nice. Things like that, all things to consider. So I'm going to leave it there. I think I've waffled for long enough, but that's my top tip. So have a plan ahead now as to what you want to do, because there's these game week 29 fixtures doubles that have been announced. There's 27 doubles. There's blanks in 28 that we're going to find out for definite after the FA Cup, after this game week. Start planning ahead now, even if you just spend a few minutes on it. It'll be worth it. This is my team again for this coming game week. my free hit, I've gone for it this week against most people's advice, but I want to do it. I'm looking forward to seeing how they get on. And a few YouTubers have started to come out and say actually it might not be the worst idea to attack this game week with a free hit. So yeah, I'm hoping for a nice green arrow this week, and we'll just see hopefully how big it is. That's what I'm hoping is going to be the outcome. And yeah, next week we'll see how I got on, and hopefully I'll talk waffle for a bit less next week. As it will be a bit more of a straightforward game week 26, with hopefully probably less information other than the FA Cup results. There'll be a little bit of info that we'll gain from that about game week 28, but other than that, yeah, hopefully less waffle and a bit more to the point. But I hope what I've waffled about has been helpful. And yeah, for now, have a good game week, have a good rest of your day. If you want to make some transfers, go for it. Don't overthink it. Go with what you want to do. Follow your gut. Take the advice on board, but ultimately go with what you want to do. Play fantasy football to enjoy it, and don't spend the weekend beating yourself up because you changed your mind on doing something you wanted to do because you got sort of sold into the peer pressure of other recommended strategies. Follow your gut, do what you want to do, and have fun. And I'll catch you all on the next one.